let's go ahead and run the sketch again and we'll see where we're at. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and just change some things around. Let's see here. I'd like to draw the ellipse, but we'll make the ellipse white. So I'm going to go ahead and just access our grayscale value again here by just adding one argument at a full 255. And we'll go ahead and run that and make sure that we're on the right track. Yep, there we go. We got a white pattern going here. Okay, easy enough. Now, just for the sake of doing this, if you add in the function noCursor, okay, it will actually make your cursor invisible. And I don't know, it doesn't really matter for this particular sketch, but if you are doing interactive projection installation pieces, I think it's a pretty nice little bit of code to get to know right away. So let's go ahead and try that. And see, now our cursor's gone, okay? Alright, easy enough. I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And I'm going to go ahead and comment that out so we get our cursor again. Okay, so some other things that we can do. I'm going to go ahead and add another piece of code that is outside of our draw block here. And what it's going to do is it's going to give us the ability to save a JPEG of our display window. And maybe for this particular piece with our ovals, we're making or our ellipses, and we're making these different patterns. Maybe it's not the greatest. However, this code will apply to any kind of a sketch that you're running. And I think once you get into working with your webcam and you're able to actually apply effects to portraits, or you're creating really intense generative art and you want to actually save a frame of this as a still, there's a couple of different ways to do that. The easiest way to do that is to go ahead and write void Keypressed. Okay, open and close parentheses, open curlies. I'm going to close the curlies and get up in here again. And what I want to happen is, if I press a particular key, I want a particular function to occur. Now, how I do that is I actually get to just write if in here. And we're inside of the key press block here, right? And so what key we want to use is up to us. So if the key, this would be the key that is pressed, is equal to, we use double equals like that, which means is equal to, okay, S for save. And notice that I had to put that inside single quote marks, okay? You have to do that. And then we're going to go ahead and close parentheses, and we're going to add another curly brace here, okay? So this is the key press block, and what happens inside of here is we need the function is that when a key is pressed, something happens, okay? So within there, though, we're creating another block based off this if here, off this conditional, okay? And so we open up the curlies again, and what we do is we give some instructions on what happens when that S is hit. And so save, okay, because we want to save an image. And then we name the image whatever we like, and we put that inside quotes. So my image.jpg, we want it to be a JPEG. And I'm going to close those quotes, close the parentheses, and add a semicolon. Okay, so let's think about this for a second, okay? So void key press, we have opened this block. Notice when I highlight that, it doesn't do anything, okay? But when I highlight this, it highlights this one, or it puts that border around it. Do you see what's happening here? We actually are missing one of our curly brackets, and so this thing's not going to properly run. I'm going to go ahead and hit play, and we should get an error. Yep. See that? Found too many characters without a to match it. So that's what we need to set up. So let's go ahead and set that up. All we have to do is simply figure out what's not closed. So if we highlight this, it highlights this, and so it's actually, even though we actually made, I believe we made these at the same time here, it's actually taking the next closest one and saying, okay, this block is taken care of, however, this block is not taken care of. So let's go ahead and throw another one in. We actually throw that in down here because everything that occurs within this block has to be wrapped in these curly brackets, okay? Just like everything that in the function that we're basing off of if has to be inside these curly brackets, okay? Curly brackets, curly braces, something like that. Okay, let's go ahead and run the sketch. Now we have our sketch, and I'm drawing, and then I get a pattern going here that I really like, and then I'm gonna hit S, and it seemed like nothing happened. Except for if I go into my sketch and open up my sketch folder, I now have a JPEG in here that's saved as my image, okay? And let's go ahead and preview that. There we go. And that's how you do that. Keep in mind that this is the simplest way to save an image, and it's actually run every time you press S. And because you're saving it as my image, when you hit S, it saves it as my image. You hit S again, it does it again, and it overwrites the older one, okay? On our next assignment, actually, we'll go ahead and add some code that will let us continually save sequential JPEGs and name them in a sequential order. But for now, just to know these functions happen. So let's actually recap what's going on here. We have a setup block that's executed once that gives us the size of our window, and depending on our animation, draws the background. We have void draw that is drawn continuously over and over again and executed every single time the loop is run. Okay, we have now left the draw block. Okay, notice actually if I highlight that, it highlights it up here. That's that block. We're leaving that block now, and we're moving on to Mousepressed. Mousepressed is not executed every single time this sketch is run over and over again as a loop. It only runs when we do something. In this case, we press the mouse, and then the background is written as a random color. The other function we have here is void Keypressed. It's also outside the draw loop. It only is executed every single time we do something that's inside this particular block, okay? And what we want is if a certain key is pressed and it is equal to, in this case, S, then do this. And what we want is to name an image my image and make that a JPEG file. There's not a lot here, actually. It's pretty short, but I think the concepts within this simple sketch go pretty far as what you're going to be doing with processing. So it's, I think, good to experiment a lot, play, move stuff around, break the code, figure out why, and fix it, and really start to get saturated with these basic concepts here of setup, draw, and various functions that are outside of setup and draw. Okay.